Hey everybody, this is Mike Anderson with Collision Advice. I'm here with my great friend Danny with the DEG, and we're working with SCRS to bring you a series of quick tips that will help you to boost your business.
How are you doing today? My name is Danny with the DEG, and we have our good friend Bud Center from iCar. And what we want to talk about is the notion of and the misconceptions about fixtures and jigs and the different types of equipment out there, and how you may want to consider the approved method versus a universal type method, that can be used across all vehicle makes. So, as you can see here, we have a fixture system that with two different fixture manufacturers. And Bud, you're out there and you're seeing in the shops, that there's a multitude of different types of equipment out there. We have drive-on systems, we have, floor anchoring systems, we have, dedicated fixtures, we have universal type fixtures. What are you seeing out there commonly being used, and what's the misconceptions, that a repair may want to understand more about when using a fixtures in comparison to some of the systems that we talked about earlier?
Well, when we're talking about the jig systems like we have here today, there's some pretty obvious differences, right? The old style, or not even old style, but the more traditional styles, the drive-on rack, you hang some gauges and you start making your pulls. Obviously, you have to get it into the clamps and everything before that. When you get into these fixture systems, they're so different from one manufacturer to another in the way that they're set up. The vehicle maker requirements, the manufacturers that require the use of these jigs. So if you're using, for example, a car liner system, and then using a Select system, or a fixture bench of another manufacturer, the way that the jigs themselves are built, mounted to the bench, and used are very different. So in theory, with a jig system, when you get the vehicle up onto there, it's mounted, and you get it pulled back to the point that the fixture fits into the location it's designed to fit, you're back where you need to be. But with these systems, if you talk about setup and what's required, it's going to be very different from one manufacturer to the other of these systems. And then you need to think about things like, do you need to do diagnostic measuring ahead of time that could potentially require you to put it up on a two-post lift, hang some gauges, do some measuring before you then mount that vehicle from the two-post lift onto the rack. Some of these systems you might even have a drive on, and then you mount the fixtures and get them all in place. So they're all very, very different.
Excellent information. It sounds like definitely we want to do some pre-measuring and pre-diagnostics to determine if the vehicle even qualifies to even go on this system, and if it does, we want to pretty much understand that these systems do differ, from one to another, and that they're not all the same. To someone that's not understanding, about the frame rack, the systems, the fixtures, like I said, there's a lot of prerequisites required, and this is, not just something that, anyone has access to, because again, some of these specific tools may be restricted to some of the shops, even on some of the more specific brand vehicles. And that, even the universal ones that claim to work on those vehicles may not be the appropriate choice, to be used. Is that correct?
For sure. I mean, when you're using something like this that's dedicated and built for that vehicle, it's easier. I don't want to say it's easier, but they're a little less complex, right? You've got a jig that's built, you mount it to the bench, and you go.
Okay.
When you get into the systems that are more universal, it's kind of like, the old director set, where you're taking this piece and that piece and this piece and this piece and building your jig.
Right.
So they're all, like I said, they're all very, very different.
A lot of parts involved into the system. I also want to stress that all three estimating systems do not define a labor value when it comes down to this kind of stuff. So again, it's going to be an all on the spot evaluation. Each vehicle, each type of damage, each type of tool requirement that you're going to have in your shop is going to require you to specifically look at the breakdown involved into each step required to set up the vehicle on that specific equipment. So again, I hope you found this tip helpful today. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a great day.